Hello everyone, I'm Emily. Today's story isn't about just a car. This was my freedom, my independence, every single cent earned through countless late nights and missed fun. It was the symbol of my grit, my first real taste of self-made success. Then one evening it was gone. Not stolen by a stranger, but demanded by my own father. His words cut deeper than any thief's knife. Give my meticulously earned car to my 16-year-old brother, or be completely cut off. No college, no support, nothing. Today, I'm telling you the story of how my father threatened to cut me off unless I gave my car that I paid for by working to my 16-year-old brother. The dream achieved. When I turned 17, the legal driving age, all I wanted was a car. Not a fancy one, just something reliable that could get me to my part-time job, to school, and eventually to college. My parents, while supportive, couldn't afford to buy me one outright. "If you earn it, Emily," my dad, Richard, had said, "we'll help with insurance, but the car is on you." That was the challenge I needed. For nearly 2 years, my life became a blur of work. I juggled school with 2 jobs, waitressing at the local diner after classes and stocking shelves at the grocery store on weekends. While my friends went to parties or spent their money on new clothes, every single dollar I earned went into my car fund. I meticulously tracked my hours, watched my savings grow, and celebrated every milestone. The scent of fries and cleaning supplies became the smell of my impending independence. There was a fierce pride in that growing fund, a sense of ownership over my future. Finally, at 18, a week after graduating high school, I found it. A used but well-maintained silver Honda Civic. It wasn't flashy, but it was perfect. It was mine. I bought it with my own hard-earned money. The moment I drove it home, the sun glinting off its polished surface, was one of the proudest moments of my life. It symbolized years of hard work, responsibility, and the freedom I had earned. It meant I could drive myself to college in the fall, pursue internships, and truly begin my adult life on my own terms. The brother's expectation. My younger brother, Daniel, was 16. He was used to things coming easily. Where I saved, he spent. Where I worked, he made excuses. Our parents, perhaps out of a desire to make things fair between siblings, often indulged his whims, making up for what he lacked in effort. Daniel had recently gotten his driver's permit, and his singular focus was getting a car. He dropped hints, complained about public transport, and made it clear he expected a vehicle. He wanted something new, something flashy, definitely not a boring used Civic. I'd complaining to my dad about not having wheels. "It's not fair, Dad. All my friends have cars, or at least their parents bought them one." Dad would usually just sigh and tell him to be patient, but I could tell Daniel's whining was getting to him. I never imagined it would lead to this. The unthinkable demand. The demand came without warning. It was a Tuesday evening after dinner. I was humming, car keys in hand, ready to head to my evening shift at the diner. Dad called me into the living room, his face unusually stern. Daniel sat on the sofa, scrolling on his phone, a casual smirk playing on his lips. "Emily," Dad began, his voice flat, "we need to talk about the Civic." My heart gave a little lurch. "What about it, Dad? Is something wrong?" "Yes, there is," he said, surprising me with his abruptness. "Daniel needs a car for when he gets his license next month. And we've decided you're going to give him yours." The words hung in the air, surreal, impossible. My car? My Civic, that I had saved for, worked for every single cent? I stared at him, bewildered. Give him my car?
Dad, no.
I bought this car. With my own money. He hasn't saved a dime. Daniel finally looked up from his phone, a triumphant glint in his eyes.
"Yeah, Em.
It's only fair. I need it for school and stuff. You're going off to college anyway." I felt a surge of pure disbelief, then raw anger. Fair? Fair. I worked 2 years for this car. What have you done, Daniel? Begged for a new sports car you don't deserve. Dad slammed his hand on the armrest, making me jump. His voice rose, sharp and authoritative. "Enough, Emily. This isn't a discussion. It's decided. He needs reliable transportation. You're heading off to college soon anyway. You won't need it as much. But Dad, I need it for work, for internships, for getting around campus. I protest. He had won. I stared at my father, seeing a stranger. The man who taught me about hard work, about earning what you get, was now demanding I give up everything I had earned for his favored son. The betrayal felt absolute. It was a test, a demand for submission, and the stakes were my entire future. The bitter compliance. The next few days were a blur of cold silence and internal turmoil. Mom said nothing, avoiding my eyes, clearly unwilling to challenge Dad. Daniel acted as if nothing was amiss, sometimes even asking me when I'd clean out the car for him. I made the agonizing choice. On Friday evening, with a heavy heart and trembling hands, I placed the car keys on the kitchen counter. I cleaned out every last personal item, leaving the Civic empty, a hollow shell of my dreams. The proudest moment of my life had turned into my most bitter defeat. Daniel, of course, snatched the keys up instantly, a wide grin on his face, oblivious to the immense sacrifice he had demanded. He barely said thank you. The lasting impact. Life after that was strained. Daniel drove my Civic everywhere, often leaving it messy, never appreciating what it truly represented. My relationship with my father never fully recovered. The trust was shattered. I went to college on student loans and scholarships, working tirelessly to